Sometimes the most interesting shots don't happen at eye level, particularly when you're taking photos of plants. But also, it's not necessarily the brightest, loudest flowers that make the most interesting images. I'm looking at this shrub just here, and I can tell it's going to be blooming into colour sometime soon, but what's most interesting for me are these water droplets. I'm going to try and capture those as best as I can on my phone. So, got to get down low, unfortunately, and for a tall fella like me, that's not all easy. So I'm just kind of sat down quite unglamorously on the pavement here. But it does let me get in really, really close. Now, the challenge I've got is that I want to get close in to fill my frame, but on a 1x zoom, I can't really do that. On this camera, I've got a 5x zoom. When I use my 2x zoom and try to get too close in, I'm blocking the light from this droplet of water that I'm trying to get, which isn't a good thing because it's the light that really makes this water glint and gleam. So, 5x zoom. I may be straying into digital zoom territory here, but actually with this camera, I'm really happy at this length, what it's looking like. So, what you might find you need to do, when you're zoomed in, it's actually quite difficult to find your subject because you're so tight into the detail. You might need to zoom out and then zoom back in again. But here, now get a few of these because the wind is blowing and this water droplet's moving very quickly. At this focal length, it's almost like you're using a macro lens, so you need to be fastidious with your focusing. Keep on tapping to lock the focus and be patient for when the wind blows. Now, I don't have my little tripod with me, so because I'm sat down, I can actually use my knee as an additional bit of support, just resting the palm of my hand and using my other hand just to cradle the phone, just to make sure it's as stable as it can be. That means there'll be as little wobble as possible in the shot. And I'll get some nice clean images. Now really all this droplet of water is doing is reflecting the light that's around it. So there's a lot of green in there, but also if I just adjust my angle a little bit, lovely. I'm getting the sky as well, which is a mixture of blues and greys and lots of yellow today. And that means that this droplet of water takes on kind of otherworldly quality that I'm always drawn to. It looks like it could be an insect head or a little globule of some molten metal of some sort. That's how reflective it is. And of course I know what this is. I've got the context. I'm the one that's taking the picture. If you just see this in isolation, I can imagine that you'd be going, what on earth is that? It's interesting, but I don't really know what it is. And it's that abstract nature that really appeals to me here. Right, I've got a few shots there. Let's take a look, see which ones came out the best. Here I used the camera's 2x zoom to try and focus in on the droplet of water there. It hasn't really worked as the viewer. I'm confused as to where I should be looking. Even though this droplet of water is right in the middle of the frame, it's not really catching my attention enough. So no, this one hasn't worked for me. I picked this image out because it shows what can go wrong. Even the smallest of breezes, when you're this close in on your subject, can introduce movement that will mean that the whole shot gets ruined. And even though shots either side of it were fairly sharp, this one here, just a small movement means that all of the foreground, all of it is now blurred and it's just a bit of a mess, really. This is the shot I think I was after. We've got the droplet of water right in the middle of frame, and for me what makes it work is that the highlights, these reflections from the water of the sky and whatever else was around, are pretty much the brightest thing on the image, and that really draws your eye in. Also, it looks very sharp. I can just see some of the hairs on the green leaf around it. That helps me to know that it's sharp. The glints, the white reflections from the sky really are highlights in an otherwise green frame. There's one or two bits of context there, but I feel as though that is the shot that I was after.